Are you someone who believes that everything that happens in our lives has a reason? Do you believe that each of us has its own purpose in the world? That is why we were born? Friends, let me narrate to you the story of an individual in her experience, and it is up to you to judge it, because there is a saying that when to see is to believe. Welcome to my world of adventure. Beside the river, there was a girl sitting, and she looked so sad, looking down the running water and asking herself, "Who am I? Where did I came from?" From a bit distance, there was a strange woman watching at the girl without even a single blink, with a sadness in her eyes. And after a while, strong wind blows to the girl almost fell down to the water. Then she began wandering around and see the strange woman staring at her whereabouts. Slowly, the woman disappearing but motionless, just the unexplained shining light flashing several times. Furthermore, it also disappeared. That night, while Nikki was sleeping, she dreamed of butterflies, mostly are blue in colors, and it shows up to her dreams consecutively, as if speaking to her surroundings that wants to indicate something. And she just wakes up that the ending of the dream is always like that. One night, Nikki dreamed again. But for instance, she sees as if she is being obeyed by the butterflies in a secluded place. And in the front was a woman standing there, that in her reflection it was as if she had already seen somewhere, at which she did not remember. The strange woman was alone, surrounded by many blue butterflies and facing Nikki's whereabouts. But even the woman's appearance was not frightening. She was still scared, thinking that maybe she just pretending to look nice, but it will gonna eat her. At that thought, suddenly she was awakened. Her family's life in the province was lacking everything, so Nikki was looking for a job in their small city to help her parents, who are both old enough as paddy farmers. But even they are just poor, they're not ashamed of it, even if there are other neighbors who don't like her family, because they're just left behind by society and avoids them when times unexpectedly meet on the road or somewhere, as if there were a contagious disease. At the age of 16, Nikki felt the suffering of the family, so she did not go on to college first to help the family for the meantime. Whenever she feels sadness and pity for her parents, she goes to the river bank, and there she will weep so that no one could see her crying. But without her knowing, someone was watching every time she cried by the river, and this is indeed the strange woman. Nikki was accompanied by her friend to find a job in a not so distant small city in their province. While they were walking, Nikki noticed a large billboard with its blue butterfly print, but she did not give it a deep meaning. Later, she noticed that a friend was not beside her and is already a few meters away. When she was about to run to follow her friend, suddenly someone's arm is on her shoulder, and it's a man looking and warn her not to shout if you don't want to get hurt. Nikki felt suddenly grew cold at that saying, and seems to fall in fear when she saw the glowing sharp thing held by the man at her side. And so as not to be noticed by the people around, so he put his arm on her shoulder as if he knew her. Nikki stared at the man's face, and she thought that the man's appearance did not look bad, and it even looks rich, fair-skinned and well-dressed as well. There's many passers-by there, and why she was chosen. And her simple looks in white t-shirt and black jeans. She loses her long hair down to the waist and just carrying a small green bag on her shoulder. Not even a single piece of jewelry on the body. But she was still too scared and thought that hopefully the friend who continued to walk turned to her. Their walking pace is very sluggish. The man doesn't speak either. Nikki tried to shout, but no voice came out in great fear. She softened up to think that perhaps that's all her life is, and she could no longer help her parents. What a pity she will be left behind. Who's gonna help them? As Nikki turned to look at the man's face, as if she was begging, and she prayed in her mind to the divine that, please take care of me, I'm scared. I still want to help my family. And her mind kept asking assistance from the highest, wholeheartedly. During the few minutes of the walk, the man looked at Nikki's face, and suddenly it seemed like a shock that it released the sharp object and picked it up to run away, as so afraid of something he saw. Nikki also shocked at the man's gesture and ran towards her friend, but she didn't tell the friend what had happened, 'cause she might be afraid of it and will not go with her to look for work. They saw nothing that day and just went home. Hopefully some other time they're gonna find. However, due to its quite a distance away and lacking of fare, it's not that easy to get to the city. Few days later, she got sick, and since childhood, she's always got sick, as well as her heart was affected. Sometimes had difficulty in breathing, especially whenever she felt sad. She just fanned herself as her tears flowed, while also continued her perseverance to breathe. Often left alone in their tiny house, when her parents go to the paddy fields, and due to exhaustion after household chores, one afternoon Nikki fell asleep and dreaming something frightening scene, then immediately woke up. When she opened her eyes, there were 6 viperidae or snakes around. Beside her was 3. There is 1 hanging at the ceiling, and 2 was under the bamboo floor, on where she was lying, and she could see it through space in between each layer. Cannot move. If she does, she might be bitten. So pretended to be still asleep. There are variety in colors. There's a mixture of orange with green, black with white dots, brown and black, and pale yellow with brown. Nor though they move, seems to be sleeping too. Nikki just took the timing to run because she was extremely scared of snakes. In her mind, she counted to 10 and at once running out of their tiny house towards the nearest neighbor, breathlessly says that there were snakes inside their house, so the neighbor accompanied her to take a look at what she said, if it's true. But when they approached to the place, snakes are already gone, and they only had caught a tail of a black with white dots in color, and it also quickly disappeared in sight. Neighbor says that be thankful and they didn't bite while she was asleep, but it seems impossible. Nikki told her parents about it, but their only answer was she should not be afraid and just ask protection from the divine. Confused to ask them why. Is that it? Those snakes are really scary. But her parents change the subject every time there are unbelievable strange events. She often wondered at such reaction of her parents. Even when there was a time that she almost drowned in the river because there's a little man under the water pulled her foot, even though there would have been many of them together at that time swimming in the river. Why her foot was chosen? to pull those of like a little man underwater. And also when she was still studying in junior high, at their school one Friday afternoon, after they had fun of playing hypnotizing command kind of game. 5 of them were all there, but Nikki is the only one who was enabled the real command. And if not sprinkled with water and slapped their classmate, it wasn't awakened, because some of them cried, and the others were angry at Nikki. As why does it seem to be happening? It's just a game. She didn't know what to do then. She also wonders why. Whenever she asks her parents what kind of child she is, and their always answer was, shy and tender, normal child. And time will come that you will discover your hidden carapace. Hence, Nikki sees many of the seemingly strange and wonders. She asks herself constantly how really she is. Since 3 years old, she has had various encounters a lot. Like, she had a friend that the average individual doesn't see. Many dreams that happening in a wake world. Nikki already knew that no one would believe her if she says about what she sees, so it would have been better for her to choose to pass on the details to a storytelling, and may it be more likely to observe the message and meaning within it, because her dreams are still occurring currently, even if she is already crossing over to the foreign land. Occasionally, butterflies still visit in her dreams, which she calls the blow fairies.